In the year 20,000 BH, before humanity, the galaxy was a vast, teeming frontier of nascent civilizations, each clawing its way from primitive origins to claim a foothold in the stars. Species spread across diverse worlds, experimenting with technology and governance, but progress was slow and perilous. Conflicts were frequent, and few could imagine an existence beyond their own isolated planets. Then came humanity. Human pioneers arrived with a sophistication the native species could hardly fathom. Unlike those who sought dominion, humanity settled worlds with a careful touch, establishing sprawling colonies equipped with advanced technologies. But they offered more than structures and settlements. They shared powerful knowledge by leaving monolithic data centers on many council worlds, repositories of insight and wisdom that transformed those who could unlock their secrets. Even their defenses, massive arrays of planetary shields, deep space monitoring systems, and automated fleets, were left behind, silent sentinels against the looming shadow of an enemy the council races did not yet know, an aggressive threat from the distant Antennae galaxy. And then, without explanation, humanity vanished. Their influence lingered for 20 millennia, shaping civilizations, igniting stories, and inspiring fears. The Galactic Council preserved the legend of humanity with a blend of awe and reverence, though many came to doubt humanity's existence as fact. Yet in the quiet, the memory persisted, a warning, a promise, a mystery. Until the day an ancient nightmare returned, and the memory of humanity shifted from mere legend to desperate hope. The Galactic Council's central hub, known as Irath, was the heart of interspecies governance. A massive structure orbiting the planet Aldea, Irath was an architectural marvel, a fortress of polished alloys and transparent domes, gracefully orbiting in a ballet of light and shadow. Councillors from every sector gathered here, convening beneath a great, domed ceiling that sparkled with starlight, to shape the future of the galaxy. Decisions were made in the safe, familiar confines of Irath, often without acknowledging the mysterious void humanity had left behind. But on an unremarkable cycle, that safety shattered. Without warning, an armada of obsidian black ships tore through space toward Irath, their hulls emblazoned with alien symbols no councillor recognized. The vessels moved in flawless formation, as though guided by a single mind, and struck with brutal precision. Turrets lit up along the hull of Irath, aiming to intercept the incoming threat, but council defenses were woefully outmatched. The Taurian ships cut through their defenses with weaponry unlike anything the council had encountered, beams of green energy slicing through ship after ship with devastating ease. Council forces scrambled to hold the line, but their smaller frigates and patrol ships fell swiftly under the Taurian onslaught. Fleets deployed in a last-ditch formation were shattered as Taurian energy projectiles ripped through hulls, detonating ships in a merciless chain reaction that painted the space around Irath in fiery debris. On board the station, council soldiers braced for the inevitable. The Taurians landed strike teams on Irath, bursting into the grand halls with coordinated sweeps. Shouts, blasts, and the shrill alarm of breached bulkheads filled the station. Soldiers fought bravely, deploying barricades and mounting defense perimeters, but the Taurians moved with a ruthless, unyielding precision. Their tactics were surgical, their hatred almost tangible, as if every council race had personally wronged them. As non-essential personnel were rushed to escape pods, council soldiers held the line, buying precious minutes. Several council ships attempted desperate, point-blank maneuvers to delay the enemy, only to be eviscerated in hails of alien fire. Finally, as the last councillors escaped, Irath fell silent, burning against the darkness. Its grand halls, once a place of peace, echoed only with the silence of the fallen. In the aftermath, council survivors gathered in a remote safe station, haunted by the loss. They had never encountered an enemy like the Taurians before, one who attacked not only with terrifying efficiency but with a cold, nearly personal malice. The attack on Irath left the Galactic Council reeling. The Taurians had proven to be unlike any threat they had encountered, wielding an intense hatred and a level of sophistication that shocked the Council to its core. Desperate to find answers, the Council mobilized an expedition to search humanity's ruins, spreading teams across the galaxy to unearth any remaining trace of their technology, records, or defenses. Each team approached these sites with awe and trepidation, navigating vast, silent structures left behind by humanity. The monolithic computers loomed in the depths of forgotten cities, shrouded in shadows and dust. Intricate, ancient symbols pulsed faintly on their surfaces, stirring an eerie sense of life, as if they had merely been dormant, awaiting a time of need. The scout teams gradually deciphered fragments of the knowledge these monoliths held, and an astonishing realization took hold of the council: the same message had been left across multiple worlds, identical in structure and content. What the council had once assumed were scattered relics of human wisdom were, in fact, parts of a single coordinated message, a warning. Humanity had foreseen the Taurian threat long before the council species could even understand such a danger. They had left behind not only knowledge but also guidance, should the Taurians ever return. These computers, silently watching over each civilization's development, had been humanity's final safeguard. The council's scholars pieced together the fragments and unveiled a harrowing tale. Humanity had fought the Taurians in a battle so catastrophic that it threatened to tear the galaxy apart. Though humanity had emerged victorious, the cost had been staggering. In a final act of sacrifice, they had preserved the fledgling council species, guiding them through the early stages of their evolution. Humanity understood that they would eventually need to disappear to prevent other, unknown enemies from finding them, so they made a radical choice: they placed their entire civilization into stasis, hidden in a remote region beyond the galaxy's reach, a sleeping giant awaiting a time of need. When Councillor Kalin Voss, still haunted by Iratha's fall, gathered this evidence, he brought it to the council leadership in a somber meeting. He laid out the files and spoke softly, the weight of the discovery evident in his voice. "Humanity left us a final message," he said, his tone grave. "A warning that may save us or condemn us if we ignore it." The council leaders sat in silence, the significance of the revelation settling heavily on them. Humanity had not simply vanished, they had hidden, leaving behind these tools for the day when their protection would be needed again. That day, it seemed, had come. The council knew then that any hope of surviving the Taurians hinged on a single course of action: they would need to find humanity and awaken them from their long stasis. The expedition took 7 grueling months to reach the coordinates buried in human records, a journey that strained even the council's most advanced ships. Warping through empty expanses and gravitational storms, they pushed deeper into uncharted regions, well beyond familiar galaxies and even the farthest reaches of known space. Finally, they emerged from warp space into a seemingly barren void, where faint traces of energy flickered like distant stars, markers of something ancient, powerful, and incomprehensible. Then, the sensors went wild. Before them, looming like a celestial wall, was an armada of immense human ships, each one a towering fortress of metal and energy. They were arrayed in a vast, silent formation that stretched far beyond the sensors' reach. The sheer scale of these vessels dwarfed anything the council had ever seen, and the formations were chillingly precise. It was as though these ships, designed with a powerful elegance and a quiet vigilance, were frozen in time, waiting for a purpose long forgotten. Among the vessels were massive Leviathan-class cruisers, sleek, elongated with an ominous black sheen, each bristling with weaponry that glowed faintly in the darkness. Larger still were the Titan-class dreadnoughts, vast and angular, armored like mountains and dotted with energy arrays that shimmered with restrained power. The super-heavy destroyers, shorter but wider and equipped with banks of plasma cannons, loomed heavily in formation, like guards waiting to be unleashed. But at the center of the formation were the great liveships, monolithic vessels housing billions of humanity's finest, resting in stasis chambers hidden within. Smaller ships, if such a term could even be used for them, flitted between the giants. Imperator-class patrol ships, swift and agile, patrolled the edges of the formation, though they were anything but small by council standards. Each Imperator was as large as a council flagship, yet it moved with the nimbleness of a fighter. And one of these Imperators now approached the council fleet, its engines thrumming as it moved to intercept them. The council expedition, though composed of the finest ships and technology they could offer, felt like a cluster of rowboats approaching a continent. Their largest vessel, the council flagship Osira, was dwarfed by the Imperator-class ship that moved toward them, its sleek hull seeming to pulse with life. The ship's subtle, deliberate movements were too precise, too calculating to be piloted by anything but a machine. A synthesized voice, resonant and rich, cut through the silence. "Identify yourselves and state your purpose." The council captain, his voice betraying a slight tremor, responded, "We are representatives of the Galactic Council. We seek humanity, our long-lost protectors. We seek your aid. The line went silent. Then, after a tense pause, the voice replied, "You are here to awaken humanity. But first, you must prove yourselves worthy." Before the crew had time to respond, a holographic interface materialized in the bridge of the Council flagship, flooding the room with light. The hologram displayed a sequence of tasks and challenges, each one designed to test them on multiple levels: morality, reasoning, skill, and integrity. The crew felt the weight of the moment. The only path to humanity's awakening was through these trials. The first test was an ethical simulation. The Council captain and his crew found themselves virtually transported to a civilian colony in crisis. They were tasked with making rapid decisions to save lives, allocate limited resources, and balance difficult moral choices with a time limit bearing down on them. With every choice, they faced unintended consequences. Some decisions resulted in more lives lost, others eroded trust within the colony's simulated society. Crew members argued heatedly over the right course of action, each weighing the lives of individuals against the survival of the whole. By the end, they emerged exhausted, having learned the balance of sacrifice, but painfully aware of their missteps. The second trial was a series of puzzles, each one more intricate than the last, testing their logical reasoning and pattern recognition. Ancient human algorithms spun before them, with variables interwoven in ways they could hardly comprehend. Hours passed as they worked feverishly, piecing together each puzzle. More than once, they reached what seemed to be an impasse, a trap built into the puzzle to mislead them, but they pressed on, correcting their mistakes and unlocking hidden sequences with each breakthrough. Then came the tactical trial, designed to assess their ability to strategize under pressure. They found themselves in a simulation of a battlefield, pitted against waves of increasingly advanced enemy forces. To succeed, they would have to adopt unpredictable tactics, using everything at their disposal to keep their forces intact. They coordinated maneuvers, trying formations and feints, but every mistake cost them simulated lives, a chilling reminder of the stakes. The AI monitored their moves with ruthless precision, noting every error and pushing them to think faster, move smarter, and adapt relentlessly. Finally, the test of cultural knowledge required them to interpret and respond to complex symbols from human history, philosophy, and literature. They faced concepts and philosophical quandaries that delved into the depths of humanity's core beliefs: respect, honor, sacrifice, unity. Council members wrestled with how to interpret texts and symbols that seemed at once familiar and profoundly foreign. For the Council species, the richness of humanity's cultural heritage was almost overwhelming, a dense history woven with millennia of beliefs and conflicts. But as they struggled to interpret the symbols correctly, they began to grasp the gravity of humanity's principles, the values they had held even as they vanished from the galaxy. The trials were grueling, pushing each member to their limits. They debated fiercely, stumbling, correcting each other, and pushing forward. More than once, they doubted if they could succeed, feeling as if they were learning to walk anew within the labyrinthine halls of human knowledge. When they finally emerged from the tests, they were weary, but victorious. They had faced the best of humanity's challenges and had survived, barely. The AI voice filled the room once more, its tone now carrying a note of respect. The trials have proven your resolve. Humanity shall awaken, but be warned, this is only a fraction of their strength. Prepare yourselves. With those words, the great liveships began to stir, thrumming with an energy that had slumbered for millennia. The Council team watched as lights rippled across the armada, each ship powering up, the quiet giants preparing to rise once more. When the massive liveships finally opened, the spectacle left the Council leaders speechless. Each colossal vessel, a floating city in itself, powered up like a long-dormant giant. Within, stasis chambers hissed open, and humanity's vast population of warriors, scholars, engineers, and civilians emerged, adjusting seamlessly to their surroundings as if they had simply been asleep for a night. Billions awoke in waves, their eyes flickering with a familiar determination, yet reflecting an ancient wisdom and a strength forged in battles long past. Humanity, the lost guardians of the galaxy, had returned. Leading the awakening was Admiral Rowan Kelter, a tall, broad-shouldered man with eyes that cut as sharply as his reputation. His presence radiated command, and he wore his insignia with an understated authority that required no introduction. As council leaders briefed him on the galactic situation and the Taurians' ruthless resurgence, he listened in steely silence. The admiral's jaw tightened, but he allowed no other reaction, absorbing the grim details without flinching. Once the councillors had finished, Kelter nodded with a grim understanding. The Taurians have returned. They are relentless, and they remember. We fought them once and won, but they won't stop until they've eradicated us all. This time, however, we fight with allies. His words held a weight that resonated with the councillors, who felt the sobering reality of his resolve. Without hesitation, the human fleet set course for the old Terran colonies, planets that had once been the beating heart of humanity. When they arrived, the councillors were stunned. These worlds, untouched for millennia, had been preserved as if humanity had only just departed. Drones, automated maintenance systems, and silent AI sentries had kept every city pristine. Buildings were intact, gardens still bloomed, and infrastructures were as functional as if they had been in use yesterday. It was as if humanity had left the galaxy yesterday, and yet, here they stood, prepared to reclaim it. The councillors watched with awe as humanity's technology revealed new and startling depths. The humans wasted no time, portals were activated, gateways that allowed instantaneous movement between star systems. Energy constructs, powerful and versatile, materialized on command. Ships were outfitted with weapons and shielding capabilities that defied anything the Council had imagined possible, defenses and offenses layered in intricate, interconnected systems that the Council's engineers could barely begin to understand. With their arsenal ready, humanity resumed training. The human soldiers trained alongside the Council forces, and it quickly became apparent that no matter how elite the Council soldiers were, they could not match humanity's skill. Every human warrior moved with fluid precision and terrifying efficiency, their reflexes, tactics, and discipline seamlessly integrated with their advanced technology. Their weapons and armor were like extensions of their very beings, honed and adapted to fit each warrior's unique combat style. It was as if their technology was woven into their DNA, into every fiber of their being. Even their battle simulations were advanced beyond belief, humans trained in dynamic holographic environments that simulated battlefield conditions to an astonishing degree of accuracy. The councillors watched with a mix of awe, respect, and fear, understanding now that humanity was not simply another galactic race, they were an ancient force, a species forged in the fires of war and tempered by millennia of knowledge and sacrifice. As they prepared for the coming conflict, it became clear to the Council that humanity wasn't just fighting to preserve their own legacy but to protect the galaxy as a whole, as they had once before. The Taurian fleet amassed at the edges of the galaxy, preparing for their final, all-encompassing push. Their vessels, obsidian black and teeming with power, clustered into ominous formations, stretching across the void like an unbroken sea of darkness. In response, humanity and the Galactic Council aligned their forces, forming the largest coalition the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships, advanced beyond anything in the Council's arsenal, took point, their formation rippling outward with the Council ships following in layered ranks. Together, they warped to the front lines. The two armadas collided with terrifying intensity. The Taurians attacked with brutal, unyielding formations, a relentless wall of firepower and precision. Yet humanity's ships countered them with a level of agility and synchronization the Council forces could scarcely comprehend. Human ships weaved between Taurian blasts with a fluid grace, as if piloted by a single mind. Command was fluid, with human captains making decisions in a way that was nearly instinctive, reacting to each shift in the battle with a calm ferocity. Their war instinct was tangible, honed across countless battles fought over eons. At a pivotal moment, Admiral Rowan Kelter directed the fleet into a daring and aggressive strategy. Human ships broke from conventional formation, dividing into small tactical units that launched unpredictable, sweeping attacks on the Taurian lines. Each human unit moved in tight, coordinated patterns, dancing through enemy fire with deadly precision. The Council forces, inspired and bolstered by humanity's fearless approach, rallied in support, using their own unique advantages to shield and flank the human ships. Together, they forced the Taurians into a chaotic retreat, breaking their ranks and disrupting their formerly invincible lines. Then came the portal attacks, a strategy humanity had kept in reserve. Human ships created rifts in space, slipping through these portals and reappearing directly behind enemy lines. They struck the Taurians with devastating precision, raining destruction upon the heart of their fleet before vanishing into another rift. For the Taurians, unprepared for such instantaneous maneuvers, the effect was catastrophic. Their carefully orchestrated formations collapsed into disarray as their vessels were picked off from unexpected directions. While the battle raged in the skies, the fight below on the planet Malaxis IV was equally fierce. The Taurians had landed ground forces to target key council outposts, slaughtering any who crossed their path. Humanity responded by deploying their own ground troops, inserting them directly into Taurian-controlled zones. Human soldiers, in sleek combat armor that melded seamlessly with advanced tech, descended into the fray with terrifying efficiency. They moved like shadows across the war-torn landscape, slipping between buildings, scaling walls, and clearing enemy strongholds with lethal precision. The Taurians, who expected ground battles to be prolonged affairs, were unprepared for the swift, surgical strikes of humanity's ground forces. Human soldiers showed no mercy to the Taurians. They fought with a controlled ruthlessness, dispatching enemy combatants with a chilling calm. Squads swept through city streets, clearing Taurian-held zones block by block, using advanced energy weapons that turned the tide of the battle with cold efficiency. Even among the chaotic sounds of combat, the human forces communicated with a calm, unwavering focus, their commands relayed in whispers and concise hand signals. In their eyes, the Taurians were not just an enemy, but an ancient evil returned, and humanity would allow no quarter. Yet, amid the brutal carnage, humanity's other side shone brightly. Human soldiers were ruthless with their foes, but fiercely protective of their allies. When Taurian forces cornered a group of council civilians, a small colony of Zithran refugees hiding in the ruins of a collapsed building, human soldiers broke formation to create a defensive wall around them. They took heavy losses in the process, sacrificing themselves to shield the unarmed civilians. One soldier, a young lieutenant named Caden Rios, led his squad into enemy fire to rescue a trapped alien family, shielding the children with his own body as they made their escape. Another soldier, Commander Elias Draven, personally organized evacuation routes, ensuring no civilian would be left behind, even if it meant holding the line alone. Human medics worked tirelessly, treating injured council soldiers and civilians alike, showing no favoritism. They used advanced nanotech to stabilize the wounded, working alongside alien medics with swift, reassuring precision. These acts of kindness stood in stark contrast to the cold efficiency with which the human soldiers dispatched the Taurians, and many council members who witnessed it felt a newfound respect for humanity, a respect forged in both awe and gratitude. As the battle raged on, Taurian reinforcements arrived, darkening the sky with their numbers. But by then, it was too late. Humanity and the Council had already broken the main force. Taurian ships arrived only to find their ranks shattered, their comrades' vessels scattered across space like broken shards. Human ships opened portals again, striking from unexpected angles and scattering the reinforcements before they could reorganize. The combined forces of the Council and humanity pushed the Taurians back, steadily reclaiming territory and dealing the final blow. When the last Taurian ship fell, it marked the end of a long and brutal campaign, one that would forever be etched into the galaxy's memory. When the dust settled, human soldiers stood among the ruins, their faces grim and weary. They gathered the bodies of their fallen, both human and council alike, laying them in rows and standing vigil over them. Admiral Kelter personally led the Samba ceremony, honoring every life lost, alien and human. In that moment, humanity mourned deeply, not as conquerors, but as guardians who understood the true cost of peace. The galaxy, which had once feared humanity's return, now witnessed their compassion, courage, and strength. Humanity's re-emergence was not only a resurgence of an ancient power, but a rekindling of an age-old promise to protect the galaxy, whatever the cost. After the battle, the galaxy fell into a solemn silence, mourning the devastation and sacrifice endured by so many. Stars that had once watched over a peaceful galaxy now bore witness to a sky deeply scarred by conflict. The Council and humanity grieved together, their combined sorrow a testament to the unity they had forged through shared loss and hard-won victory. Admiral Kelter held a ceremony on Earth, gathering leaders from every faction under the boundless sky of humanity's homeworld. Around him lay gravestones, each marking a life given in the defense of others, some adorned with names and honors, others left unmarked but honored as symbols of sacrifice. The council leaders observed humanity's way of mourning, astonished by the profound reverence and respect Kelter showed for life, regardless of species or rank. As the gathered mourners fell silent, Kelter stepped forward. His voice, rich with the weight of loss and resilience, carried across the assembly of human and council allies. Today, we stand as one not merely to remember the fallen, he began, but to recognize their shared courage, their shared sacrifice. These lives, lost in the pursuit of peace, are a light to guide us through any darkness that may one day return. We do not forget them, nor do we fight alone. We fight for each other, for every soul that walks these stars. A deep silence settled over the gathering. In that moment, council leaders and citizens alike saw humanity in a new light. They were not just ancient warriors returning from myth, they were a people who held life sacred, a people who wielded power tempered by purpose and compassion. As the ceremony concluded, human and alien hands alike placed symbols of remembrance upon the graves. In this final act, they bound themselves to one another, each silent gesture a vow of shared protection. Humanity had not returned to rule the stars but to stand as a sentinel, a protector of all who lived under the same night sky. With the galaxy at peace, humanity took its place among the stars once more, no longer feared but revered as guardians and allies. And though the path ahead remained uncertain, they would be ready, united, resolute, and unyielding in the face of any future darkness that might rise. Together, humanity and the Council began to rebuild, bound by resilience and fortified by hope. And as the mourners drifted away, the stars shone a little brighter, bearing silent witness to a galaxy forever changed, forever united.